Greetings all. Tonight we're going after two separate targets. We're going after a hydrogen 2 emission nebula out in the constellation of Gemini called IC2162. We're also going after a supernova remnant. A star that exploded into a supernova is called the Vela Supernova out in the constellation of Vela. The reason we're going after two targets is we have the entire night of clear weather. So from sunset all the way through the night until sunrise, it's going to be clear. Now the Vela Supernova remnant, which I want to photograph, just barely shows up on the south horizon. But it's only up for about 2 hours right in the middle of the night. Well, I don't want to waste all the other night, so we're going to sandwich the Vela Supernova on each end with IC2162. Now IC2162, I had a hard time finding the distance away from Earth it is. A lot of the pictures and the publications you see about IC2162 conveniently leave the distance off. But I finally found this scientific paper talking about it that places it at about 2.27 kiloparsecs away from Earth. So roughly, what's that, 7,403.75 light years away from Earth. That's as near as I could come up with the distance. But it sits out in the Orion molecular cloud right on the border with Gemini. Maybe it's even part of the Gemini molecular cloud, but it's right out there on that border. And to me, it looks like it's just these round circular balls of reddish, pinkish hydrogen gas. To me, it looks kind of like cheese puffs, only pink or red instead of orange. My mother thought it looked like poop. But whatever it looks like to you, that's what we're going after tonight. And then, okay, here we set, getting ready to go on IC2162. So let me show you what our plan is. So between now and 11:30, we're going to shoot IC2162. Then we're going to switch over at about 11:30 to the Vela Supernova. We'll shoot that for about 2 hours. That's all it's going to be up. Then it's going to set again. And then we'll switch back to IC2162 for the rest of the night. And I expect it's probably going to set around 4:45 or 4:50. Then we'll be done for the night. But we'll repeat this pattern 2 or 3 nights. Hopefully we'll have enough to make a picture. Now I have not shot IC2162 yet, so this will be first time on that target. I do have a handful of subs already on the Vela Supernova remnant. So what I've done is we'll go ahead and match the orientation on the camera from those frames that I already got. And we will use that same orientation for IC2162. That way we don't have to rotate the camera or change it in between targets. And that's going to be just fine. Now, let me show you what that's going to look like. IC2162 sits right over here. Let's go find it. Right there, you can see it's just, if you draw a line from Regal to Betelgeuse and go a little bit further on out, that's where it sets. So out there near Orion. Now if we can zoom in on this, you don't see anything because Stellarium doesn't show you a picture of it. So you can go look it up if you want to, or otherwise you can be surprised when it comes in. So anyhow, IC2162 right here, that's what we're going to start on. Then we'll switch to the Vela Supernova remnant. Let me show you how we're going to do that. All right, we're going to go right over here to Propeller. We're going to do a focus, synchronize the mount, and then from there the IC2162 over here is going to be popping out. I'm getting a phone call. Hold on a second. Spam. Can you believe that? Spam. Okay. What was I saying? The IC2162 is going to be popping out. So after we do our focus, mount synchronization on Capella, we'll zoom right on over here. Now, like I said, this is the first time I've shot this target, but we will be using the same rotation of 230, which is what we're going to use on the Vela Supernova remnant. Now, my camera is not currently set at 230, so when we get over here to Capella and do our focus and mount synchronization, we'll rotate the camera there and do the auto guide calibration, so that when we get on over to our target, the camera will already be set, the auto guiding will already be calibrated, and we'll be ready to go. So let's make that happen. So from here, now I should say I've already polar aligned the mount. It's sitting there ready to go. So we need to get on Capella now. The way we're going to do that, I'll click up Capella, and I'm going to go to Neener, which is my software manager here. Go to the framing tab. I'm going to click this little button here, and what it's going to do is going to pull in the coordinates for whatever I have selected in Stellarium, in this case Capella. So let's pull that in. Now, it's already pulled in Capella's coordinates, but what it's doing is searching this database up here, and it's going to use my internet connection down here to pull in the NASA Sky Survey picture of Capella. It's not going to be much to look at. Now, sometimes if you don't have an internet connection, which sometimes I don't, that's okay. It still pull in the coordinates even without an internet connection. But what you may have to do sometimes is just manually type these into your sequence tab over here, because it doesn't always auto import to your sequence tab if you don't have an internet connection. Now when I click slew, it's just going to make one attempt to get there. It's not going to plate solve or anything. It's going to make one attempt and it's going to stop and be done. If we can see Capella, we'll do the focus there. If not, we'll plate solve on over to it. So let's see if the mount can find Capella. It would help if I hooked up the camera. I forgot to do that. Can you hardly believe that? I didn't hook up any of my equipment. So the camera's hooked up, it's cooling. Hook up the filter well. We'll hook up the telescope. And we'll hook up the Autoguider pitch too. All right, now the stuff is hooked up. So now it's going to work. All right, so here we have Capella ready to go. So now when I click this button, it's going to plate solve its way on over to Capella. It's not going to calibrate because I need to rotate the camera before we calibrate guiding. So here we go over to Capella. And yonder goes the telescope, heading right over to Capella, just like we told it to do. And I can tell you that it is going in the right direction, so that's a good sign. All right, it thinks it's on Capella. What it's going to do is settle for 5 seconds. Now it's going to take a picture. See if we see Capella in this picture here. Yeah, there's the picture. Yeah, there's Capella right there. Now, you see it's not dead on it, so it's going to make another adjustment. It did a plate solve. It knows it's not there. So it made a quick readjustment, and this time it's going to put Capella dead under the center right here. Watch it do that. There it is right there. Capella is dead centered. So now we're on Capella. So let's go and get on live view. We'll go to the imaging tab. There's Capella right there. We're going to get on live view. 1 second luminance filter. There we go, live view. And now I'm going to go put the Batinov mask on. So we're looking at a live feed of Capella right now. So I'll put the Batinov mask on. We'll get focused on Capella. All right, Batinov mask is on. Let's zoom in here. And I was using this telescope just 2 nights ago, and look at there. It's already focused. Still focused from 2 nights ago. That's okay. For those of you who don't know what a Batinov mask does, it puts this X here across the stars, and then this line in the middle shows you your focus. If you perfectly exactly split that X, then you're focused. But if this line is off to one side or the other, then you're not focused and you need to adjust your focus. But we are perfectly focused already, so I don't need to do anything to this. So that was easy. I guess everybody deserves a break every now and then. So we are focused on Capella. And before I forget, I'm going to go turn off live view, because if you don't turn off live view and you try to move to your next target, when you try to plate solve in live view, your camera's going to choke up and it'll fail out, and you may have to turn it all off and start over. I've done that plenty of times, but I'm not doing it tonight. We're off of live view. Now I'm going to go take the Bahtinov mask off. All right, Bahtinov mask is off. We are focused. So let's get on over to IC2162. Actually, before we do that, let's rotate the camera and calibrate our Autoguider. So let's see how we're going to do that. Let's do a plate solve here. Go back to the imaging tab. We'll do a plate solve right where we're at, and then what that will do, it'll show us the camera orientation right here. So here we are. We're going to do a plate solve. Now there's our 248. We're looking for 230, remember. So I'm going to go and move the camera 18 degrees to the left. Okay, I rotated my camera what I think is 18 degrees. So let's see if I got on 230. So we're just going to do another plate solve. Now I'm going to turn synchronize off, and I'm going to turn re-slew off, because I don't want to move. I don't care about where we are right now. I just want to check the camera rotation. So we're going to plate solve and looking right here for 230. Here we go. It's going to take a picture. It's going to solve it. And let's look at our camera rotation. All right, I need to go another 2.5 degrees to the left. So let me go make that adjustment, and then we should be ready to go. All right, another small adjustment. Let's do another plate solve. We're looking for 230. And actually, if I get 230.5, that is dead on of what I'm trying to get here. So 230.5 is what we'd like to see. All right, one more time. Watch the plate solve. 230.5. All right, 0.05 of a degree from where I want to be. So that's about as close as I'm going to get. So I'm going to call this good. So the camera is rotated. Now we can go ahead and calibrate our Autoguider. So let's do that. Connect up the guide camera. We'll tell it to loop. And here's some possible guide stars. Let's pick this one right here. And as soon as I click, it should do a calibration. So let's see if it starts to calibrate. There it does. So our calibration is going after we set the camera rotation the way we wanted it to. So this is all good. So I'm going to let it finish this calibration, and then I will be right back with you to get on over to IC2162. Okay, Autoguiding is calibrated, the guiding is going, so we're ready to get on over to target. So I'm going to turn the Autoguider off right now, and I'll show you how we're going to get over to target. So remember now, this is Capella. We don't want to go to Capella anymore. We're done with Capella. So let's load the target set that we built for IC2162 in the Vela Nebula. So I'll click right here. It's going to load that target set that we built earlier. And here it is right here. IC2162 in the Vela. Let's open that up. And here it is. So here's IC2162 we're going to start with. Here is the Vela Nebula we're going to do in the middle. And then again back to IC2162 when Vela is done. So we are ready to get going. So I've got dither on. We are doing, this is a narrow band, so we're doing 10 minutes. Now I am taking some broadband, some RGB 1 minute shots to just to get the natural color starfield over on our IC2162 target. So we'll do those fairly early on. Then we'll do some more narrowband 10-minute exposures each of HA and O3, and that will finish out the first part of our plan. So here we go. If I've done everything right, as soon as I click this button, it is going to magically plate solve its way on over to IC2162, get centered up, and then start taking the picture. Well, it's not going to do that unless I turn the music. Okay, so here we go. All right, there goes the telescope, and I think, yes, it is going in the right direction to point at IC2162, so that's a good sign. So it thinks it's there. It's doing a settle. It's going to take a picture to do a plate solve, looking for IC. Okay, see, it did not get on it, but that's okay. It just did a quick readjust, and now it's going to take another picture to see did it get it right this time. There's the picture. It's going to plate solve right here, and it did get it right because it's starting guiding, and it's going to change the filter. There it goes, and then it's going to start taking our picture, and there we go. You see it's taking the picture. Guiding is going, so we are off and running on IC2162. And here it sits right in here somewhere. I can't see anything just on the 2-second plate solve. Maybe there's something right there, but that doesn't surprise me. So Stellarium did not have a picture of what IC2162 looks like, so it is going to be a surprise when our first 10-minute exposure comes in. Now I know what it looks like. It'll be a surprise to y'all if you don't know about IC2162. So another 9 minutes and our first HA exposure of IC2162. And I will be back with you to look at that. Meanwhile, I got to go see what Venus is chasing. Here we go, about 5 seconds for our first 10-minute HA. Let's watch it come in together. Coming in about now. There it is. How about that? How about that? And that is IC2162. So we did get in the right spot. This is what I was looking for. Those 3 balls of gas right there. And if you zoom in, you'll see there's another one down here. And I believe somewhere in here there's a 5th one. But I definitely see 4 of the 3 big ones and the small one. This is looking pretty good. Like I said, I'd not imaged this before, so I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, but this is what I was expecting. So this is good. I like this. The stars are looking pretty round. My guiding is not as good as I want it to be, but seems to be good enough to give us round stars. Anyhow, there it is, IC2162. That's our first HA image. It's going to take how many? 2 of those, and so we're on the second one, and then it will take some O3. So what I'm going to do is I'll let it run, and then when our first O3 image comes in, I will be here to look at that with you. For now, I'm going to let it run. We'll come back and look at an O3 image when it's time. There it is, IC2162. All right, here's our first O3 image, just came in. I got to tell you, I don't see much here. I think right here is that same bright one little ball that you can see in the plate solve picture. Yeah, not much here. And my tracking is awful on this picture. You can see the stars are not round. They look like oblongs or football. Could be a couple reasons for that. I think some high clouds came through that I couldn't see too good, messing up the auto guiding. The other possibilities were still down in the horizon haze, so that could be complicating it. But anyhow, this object rises, those clouds clear on out, and it rises higher into the sky, I think our guiding is going to be okay. So I probably won't use this one, but just because of these oblong stars, I think they'll get better over the night. But anyhow, not much signal there. There's a little bit right here. We'll see. We'll see what comes in. I think once I stretch this data and then stack it, there probably will be enough to contribute. But you can tell from other images that people have taken that there's mostly a cloud of hydrogen gas here. I guess not a big surprise that we didn't get too much O3. And we're waiting on our second O2 to come in. I just thought I'd report back to you. A bunch of deers and a few coons were out at the corn feeder taking supper. Venus was just letting them know that she was there. So she was yakking at them while they were trying to eat. That's what she was after earlier. A bunch of deers and a few coons out at the corn feeder. Anyway, there's our second O3. Looks pretty much like the first one. The stars are a little better. They're a lot more rounder this time. I think those clouds did move on and the auto guiding improved some. But anyhow, they will get better. We see here now we are on our first red sequence. I'm doing 1 minute exposure each on the red, green, and blue to go ahead and capture the natural star colors. So when we make the image of this HA cloud, we'll have natural star colors in there, doing 20 minutes each on red, green, and blue for a total 1 hour to get the natural star colors. So there's our first red, and look there, coming through the red filter, you can see those balls of hydrogen gas right here. That's just on the 1 minute red filter. I don't think we'll see those on the green and the blue. Okay, here's the last of the HA that came in on IC2162. We are getting ready to shift over to the Vela Supernova as soon as this one finishes. You see it's got just about 4 minutes left. We talked about the bad tracking and auto guiding earlier, but you can see throughout the night, just like I thought, it did improve. As soon as it got out of the horizon haze, then the tracking improved greatly. I'm getting completely round stars now, so that's all good, like we knew it was going to be. While we're waiting, here is the last HA image that we took on IC2162. That's pretty good. All right, here comes it. You see the tree up there in the top right, and there goes the telescope swinging over from the Vela Supernova back to IC2162. And I can tell you it is going in the right direction. It's gonna point right up over top of that tree now. Right up there is IC2162. And you can see the telescope looking right up at it. So right there. And you see here we're back on the third part of our plan for the night. And we're off and running now on one of 3 of the HA on IC2162. Okay, it's off and running. So I'm going to go to the Options tab to Imaging. And I'm going to go down here and say, when the sequence ends, park the mount and warm the camera. So now this is going to go until 0420. The target goes behind the trees. The mount parks itself, warms the camera, and then it just sits there waiting on me to come and collect it whenever I wake up. So I'm going to go to bed now, and I'm going to get about 4 hours of sleep. Then I'll come out here and I'll collect my equipment in the morning. Then hopefully we'll do it again tomorrow night. So until then, I'm just going to let it run.